being sent in with other members of TRAT. Our mission? To rescue 1,300 survivors and collect data on the Third Energy Project.
Hey Sarge, where do you want this? Did you organize a transmission on this GPS? There's something wrong. Hey. Huh?
What? What is this? Main character symbol?
Welcome back, everyone.
Today we're watching
Syndrome
They are the
symbol.
character.
That's right, and we're all just
What is this?
NPCs in this video game of life. Let's start out with this guy here.
Yo, everybody listen up! I need my phone! Somebody took my phone! I'm gonna find my iPhone, and my phone says it's in this building. Now, if I don't get my phone in 2 minutes, I'm gonna clean the teeth. Set it off!
First of all,
I'm sorry, you left it in the tray of chicken nuggets.
first of all, why? Like, I get it, but if I'm in the audience, I'm starting to get worried, because if he's gonna Queen Latifah set it off in this bitch, I'm giving that man his phone back.
So now you're not gonna copy it? Oh yeah, so what? Main character syndrome is insufferable, claiming that you're the best and or good at something when you're clearly not. Something like that. Interesting. Interesting. Oh god, what is all this stuff? Oh, let me see. Ow. What is that? Perfect weapon? Dino Crisis 2 ending. Yeah. A case against simping? What? Hold on. What
The
is
word
this?
simpleton refers to a foolish or gullible person. It's an English term from the 17th century derived from
Simpleton.
the word simple.
Yeah.
The word simp, shortened from simpleton, started to see use in the early 1900s. The meaning is basically the same, referring to a silly or foolish person. However, the modern usage of the word simp originates from the 80s and 90s rap scene, now referring to men who are overly sympathetic, particularly to women. With the rise of things like e-girls and the manosphere, the term simp has become very popular and is often overused or misused. Some people think that simping is merely respecting women. Respecting women is one thing. Prostrating yourself to try to force a romantic connection is a completely different thing. If
Yeah.
you're being so kind that it's coming off as pushy or creepy, that's not respect. That's just desperation disguised as generosity. So what's the line between simping and respect? I think you start crossing over the line of simping when you start to compromise your own values and interests for the sake of somebody else, especially
Yeah.
somebody else you barely know. Also, the term simping kind of implies that there's not much reciprocation going on, if at all. Simps
Right.
will often do favors, run errands, and buy things in hopes of receiving some form of affection in return. Online, this takes the form of donations
Oh, yeah.
and subscriptions
Most
with
definitely.
a parasocial intention. Parasocial meaning the often obsessive relationship a viewer may have with a celebrity they watch.
Right. Yep. One-sided relationship formed when one party extends energy, interest, and time at the other person does not know they exist. Pretty
So what
much.
are some
Yeah.
examples of a simp? In fiction, you have characters like Morty from Rick and Morty and Brock from Pokemon.
Excuse me, could you tell us where the Pokemon Center is? Pokemon Center?
Forget the Pokemon Center, I'm Brock. I'm new in town and I'm free for dinner tonight. You look hungry. Pick a place, any place at all.
I think she has reservations about dinner.
While these are good examples, they are just cartoons. As far as
Right.
simping in the real world goes, there really aren't that many well-documented figures. There are lots of one-off examples of simp behavior all over the internet. But
Yeah.
I'm looking for more of an open book example of a simp. Dallas Galley is largely
Oh,
known
boy.
for shooting hot glue in his pants while hugging a Twitch streamer.
Oh,
But
God.
I met a girl who's a streamer. I went up to her, I hugged her, and I came in my pants. Wow. Hug her.
Who even says that in public? What? Are you proud of that?
Exactly.
At first glance, Dallas may seem like the perfect example of a simp. He truly is built different, though. He comes off as completely unabashed about his behavior. Even though he says some wild things, he's still more socially comfortable than a lot of the simps who are more reclusive. He also says he doesn't watch adult content and hasn't relieved his tension in about a decade.
11 years?
Yeah, getting there.
Wait,
Yeah.
why?
Why? I don't know. I just stopped doing it.
Sociability and self-control are not common traits of a simp. Dallas may be awkward, but he's not a hermit. What he does have in common with other simps is donating to streamers he's
Oh, God.
infatuated with.
I'm in a bit of a silly, goofy mood today.
Oh, boy.
Fresh off my 2-day depression. Thank you to 5 gifted, Pablo. Appreciate it. OMG, you love Poke stuff. So sad. Is this a nice message? I can't tell. I think they wanted to, but they got a little bit lost.
Also, I have to say, since he doesn't relieve himself, it makes a bit more sense as to why he would spill his Alfredo while hugging a streamer. When compared to others, Dallas is actually one of the more well-adjusted simps out there. An older example of documented simp behavior would be Skippy.
I just like sit there with girls sometimes on dates like, you're the cutest, you're the sweetest, you're the best. Let's cuddle. You want to cuddle? I made out with Skippy for 3 minutes. And all I got was this lousy t-shirt.
Skippy has been talked about by some big channels over the years, like H3H3 and Abba and Preach, for example. What really surprises me is he went on Fresh and Fit over a year ago.
Right now, I'm not looking to get married, only from the perspective that I finally realized that I want to, that it is a better process, and that I'm not just thinking like, oh, hey, I'll date, I'll find the right girl, and then we'll just figure it out somehow. It's like, no, I probably should be stable and have a job and not be in tons of debt. And so I'm not going on tons of dates right now, not because I don't have the internet to be able to ask girls on Tinder on dates, but because it's like, okay, crap, I need to get this stuff in line. You know?
I actually love that because, I think it's good. Like, a man needs to have his shit together before he takes a girl out.
For anyone who's really struggling, putting yourself and your future first is probably the best thing you can do. Skippy also says on the podcast that he's been clean from opioids for over 4 years. Both Dallas and Skippy still have a lot of work ahead of them, but I have hope, and I'm rooting for them. Although they've both been widely mocked on the internet, the fact that they're willing to do interviews and go on podcasts already puts them in a better social position than the more reclusive simps. That is to say, this is only the tip of the iceberg. The phrase tip of the iceberg fits quite well here.
It's going to be a long one, isn't it? 23 minutes long.
Nature of simps, information is scarce. What we do know is that it's not that uncommon
social media
for Twitch streamers,
addiction,
especially women, to have stalkers. I'll get back to that later, but it's important to note how far gone things can get. So how does one find themselves in the position of a simp?
I was like, what the fuck? Is that Cyrax?
Psychology? The studies and articles about the current state of our communication skills are largely conflicted, which makes sense because sociability isn't the easiest thing to scientifically measure. What is clear, though, is that children are spending more and more time on social media, and they often have little to no guidance as to how to navigate the internet. Spending time on Twitter or Facebook isn't the same as developing the skill of speech. Think about the concept of phone anxiety, where people may be too anxious to make or receive phone calls. It's not all that uncommon for somebody to refuse calling a restaurant to place their pickup order. If there's not a way for them to place their order online, they'll get their food from somewhere else. Now, do you think this kind of person would be at all comfortable with expressing romantic interest face to face? Plus, people's social hangups can go far beyond phone anxiety. Loneliness and mental health problems are on the rise, as is social media addiction. Sites like OF and Fansly use similar psychology as loot crates in video games. The anticipation and mystery before unlocking the content is what draws in customers. This video, The Surprising Psychology of OF Simps, does a great job of explaining this, and I highly recommend it.
The constant feeling that one has on Only is kind of like the one that you might get if your phone buzzed with a text or someone sent you a snap video, but you couldn't open it. There's mystery, you're thinking about it, and that creates anticipation. You can contrast this with X-rated websites where every mystery is immediately revealed.
This kind of marketing will entice a user, but what gets them to stay? The mere exposure effect is a psychological phenomenon by which people tend to develop a preference for things merely because they are familiar with them. This is why you might like a song more the more you listen to it, or why a simp would become particularly attached to a specific content creator. The familiarity is not just with the streamer, but their community.
Pog daddies, what the fuck?
Of impulsive subservience.
A few defense essentials and some cash to ensure that no amount of financial tampering can hinder your resolution.
Financial tampering! Bro! She owns a gas station and shit, bro! She's like a multi-business empire builder!
It's a bit like an echo chamber, except there's romantic attachment on top of parasocial behavior.
Oh, God.
These communities are basically socially quarantined collectives for the reclusive, where acceptance can be bought and there's no reason to grow further, just empty subservience. So what separates a streamer who has a simp audience from one who doesn't? My general rule of thumb is, the more you make it about yourself, the worse it gets. Take the streamers Anna Cramling and Amaranth, for example. Anna is a professional chess player who's the daughter of 2 grandmasters. Do I think she's attractive? Yes. Would I watch her content if she didn't play chess? No. That's not to say people don't simp for Anna. I'm sure there are people who do, but the intent behind her content is to focus on chess. Amaranth, on the other hand, this brings us to the difference between fame and prestige. Fame is being known on a grand scale. Prestige is widespread respect, usually in a formal and professional light. It's the difference between a well-revered surgeon and Kim Kardashian. I wonder how many people going into the adult entertainment industry take time to recognize the difference between fame and prestige. You can definitely get famous from making adult content. Finding respect beyond the simps who throw money at you may be difficult. Like it or not, the adult entertainment industry is so preposterous that it's begging to be mocked. A lot of people make this a matter of feminism, that women in this industry are being ridiculed simply because they're women. For me, it's a matter of where the money is coming from, oftentimes from isolated social media addicts. Personally, in terms of morality, I would put being an OF model on the same level as being a bookie or a drug dealer. None of these things cultivate prestige. None of this is to say that I'm advocating for the regulation or censorship of adult content. What I do care about is personal responsibility and awareness. This is a Michigan State University article from 2000.
Yeah. That's why everyone says, once you put that stuff online, it stays up there forever. And that's something you really have to take into consideration and really think about before you decide to take that step into making, that kind of content. And I'm not just saying OF in general, I'm just saying that kind of content. Because it could be years, and even after those years have passed where you posted that stuff, it can come back and it will never leave you because it's a part of you, because it's literally a part of you. And no matter how hard you try to get rid of it, you won't be able to. So you have to really think about that.
2019.
It's kind of funny because me and my friend were having this conversation a little earlier.
Excessive social media use is comparable to drug addiction. Bad decision-making is a trait oftentimes associated with drug addicts and pathological gamblers. But what about people who excessively use social media? New research from Michigan State University shows a connection between social media use and impaired risky decision-making, which is commonly deficient in substance addiction. They only had 71 participants, which is low, but it's still interesting research. The participants took a survey that measured their psychological dependence on Facebook and then were asked to do the Iowa gambling task. The task gives the participant an imaginary amount of money to gamble with. Then they are given 4 different decks of cards to choose from. When you draw a card, you have a chance to gain money or lose money. What the participants aren't told is that there are good decks and bad decks. The good decks have higher reward likelihood, lower penalty costs, but lower reward amounts. The bad decks are the opposite, with lower reward likelihood, higher penalty cost, yet higher reward amounts. Even though the bad decks have higher rewards, the higher penalty cost and lower chances of winning outweigh the gains. Regularly choosing the bad decks is associated with impaired risky decision-making. Meshi and his colleagues found that by the end of the gambling task, the worse people performed by choosing from bad decks, the more excessive their social media use. The better they did in the task, the less their social media use. This result is complementary to results with substance addiction. With so many people around the world using social media, it's critical for us to understand its use. I believe social media has tremendous benefits for individuals, but there's also a dark side when people can't pull themselves away. We need to better understand this drive so we can determine if excessive social media use should be considered an addiction. The Iowa gambling task uses the concept of variable reward. Variable rewards are very effective at establishing new behavior, good or bad. Slot machines are probably the most clear-cut example of this concept. Because you're not sure what outcome you're going to get, but there's a chance you could win a lot of money, the mystery and anticipation keeps people pulling the lever. On social media, this would translate to somebody continuously posting to Facebook or Twitter, doing so in hope of getting more likes and attention than usual. This is from the California State University article, The Growing Case for Social Media Addiction. Overuse of social media is much more problematic in children because their developing brain is more malleable. By the time we reach adolescence, our reward system begins to be more activated and develop faster. Not so for our self-control though. This system isn't fully developed until the age of 21. When children are exposed to social media, they can overstimulate their reward center and increase their reward responsiveness. He found that excessive and addictive use was associated with structural changes in the brain. In fact, the brain's reward system was actually smaller. A smaller system can process associations much faster. Society and academia push the use of technology to create efficiency, but at the same time, we need to understand the potential negative effects. To some extent, it's like wine. It's okay to use a little bit, but when it becomes too much, it creates problems. When we use technology, we need to create boundaries around its use. So, as far as I can tell, the children who are growing up overusing social media are essentially being primed for addictions of all sorts. Social media addiction can have a sort of cyclical nature. The less socially developed you are, the more likely you may be to use social media as a crutch crutch. The more you use social media as a crutch, the less likely you'll be to gain experience with face-to-face communication. This resembles a negative feedback loop. When you throw in perceived romantic connection into the mix, it's a recipe for parasocial disaster. The more traditional adult entertainment industry already had its issues. Adding in variable reward akin to gambling hooks and the ability to essentially buy a perceived relationship will continue to bring social media addiction to new heights. With all that said, it's important to note the dangers don't just lie on the viewer.
My life has honestly been insane for the past year and a half. I was dealing with other issues for a long time, like stalker type things. This happened 2 weeks ago when I was on vacation. I was asleep. It was around 2 in the morning and my mom called me and woke me up. She was crying and I knew something really bad had happened. And she said, "Someone caught your car on fire. I'm so sorry. I have to go. The police are here." The only thing I really could do was go look at the cameras on my phone, and that's what I did. I watched him put a brick on my car, on the hood, and some pot. And he lit something sticking out of it and walked away casually, like he didn't do anything. The next clip after that was the front end of my car engulfed in flames. The firefighters came very quickly, and I'm very thankful for that because the fire spread to the fence and burnt the side of my house as well, which my mom and animals were inside of. I just never thought that when I started streaming back in 2015 that something like this would ever happen to me.
Stalking statistics aren't all that consistent, but it looks like anywhere from 12 to 30% of women and 4 to 15% of men experience stalking in their lifetime. Given the nature of stalking, those who are more public or famous figures would be disproportionately affected. If your audience consists of people who are socially underdeveloped and prone to addiction, then it's probably even more likely. There are different categories of stalkers, although some of the sites detailing the different categories vary slightly. Generally speaking, the different kinds of stalkers are rejected, resentful, intimacy seekers, incompetent suitors, and predatory. The ones who seem most likely to target a streamer would be resentful stalkers, intimacy seekers, and incompetent suitors. A resentful stalker may have felt slighted or offended by the streamer at some point, viewing themselves as a victim and their actions as justified. Intimacy seekers and incompetent suitors, on the
by attempting to establish an intimate relationship with their chosen victim. Sometimes their stalking behavior begins covertly, however, eventually presents overtly as they attempt to declare or demonstrate their love. Intimacy seekers are gratified by their sense of being in love. The relationship can be entirely fantasized or delusional, but they often skew their victim's behavior and interpret it as reciprocal and loving. When questioned, intimacy stalkers will not usually deny their actions, as they often do not understand it to be something negative or shameful. Meow.
On the other hand, stalk their victims out of loneliness, desire,
crazy,
and
dude.
social ineptitude.
What?
These traits go hand in hand with social media addiction. The example I gave of the Twitch streamer getting her car lit on fire is one of the more extreme examples of a streamer being stalked. That's not to say stalking is uncommon in the streaming sphere. Even Amaranth admits that stalking and creepy fans are just part of the territory for being online. I would say her parasocial marketing and celebrity status put her in a far more unique position than merely being online. But yes, creepy fans and stalkers unfortunately come with that territory. Here's an interesting clip of Amaranth being approached on the street.
How much of my content have you seen? Not very much. Just, pop in occasionally just to see the meta. Oh my.
Sir?
I don't think these guys are stalkers. I think they just ran into Amaranth, but pulling your phone out to film somebody you recognize isn't the classiest move. That's not really what I want to focus on here, though.
This is
She
weird.
asks how much of her content this guy has seen. When he says, not very much, she says, good. There are probably a number of ways to interpret this, but I think these two are the most likely. She either, for the specific instance, feels more comfortable knowing the person who's approaching her isn't a superfan, or she understands in general over-consuming that kind of content isn't healthy. Either way, it's certainly not an endorsement of her product. Amaranth and streamers in general often don't want to have anything to do with their simps other than the transactional interactions online, which makes perfect sense for the sake of privacy. Even though many people market to the simp demographic, no one really preaches the simp lifestyle as a philosophy. If you Google simp advice, all of the results are telling you how to
Simp
not be a
advice.
simp, not how to be the best simp possible. Even if you Google how to be a good simp, the first
How to
result
be a
seems
good
either
simp.
backhanded towards simps or satirical. The second result is how to acquire simps, and then the rest of the results are, once again, on how to stop being a simp or how to deal with simps. The negative connotation behind the word simp is probably a big factor in these results, but I believe that negative connotation is more than understandable. To be in the position of a simp is to be taken advantage of in a rather pathetic manner. Having wealth is usually seen as a good thing in the dating scene. Throwing money around irresponsibly because it's the only way you can get romantic attention is not seen as attractive. One of the few people to actually advocate for simp behavior is Pokimane.
Oh
I'm
boy.
gonna be over here, kissing my homies goodnight. And if you're not about it, that's okay. You can be over there, alone and mad about people simping or doing whatever. You could pick which side of the battlefield you want to be on.
Here she's going through unban requests, where people who have been banned from her chat try to make a case as to why they should be allowed back in.
Oh boy.
I came here to check the Simpson chat. Simp, you're a simp. I was going through a simp hunting phase. It was just a phase. I want you to know that's really weird. And low-key?
Okay, I can't watch any more of this shit. Pokemon is just so fucking annoying, dude. How to undo your born damage brain? Hey, King Cobra. Ash's big night. What? Hello? Oh no. Oh god. Sneezing with my eyes wide open. Oh god. Oh yeah, I know who that guy is. For those who don't know, that dude right there, that is, I believe his name is Ricardo or his name is Ricardo Lopez. He was known as the Bjork Stalker. Crazy. Just crazy. But yeah. Kind of thinking about what I want to play tonight. Let's play more Yakuza, shall we? Oh, I know. Can't wrap my cord around like that because then it messes up the wiring. Last thing I want to do is mess up the wiring on my controllers. Yeah, I'll just leave it at just chatting. Actually, I'm gonna do a little bit of Hitman, do a couple missions on there, and then I'll do some Yakuza. That sounds a lot better. I just like messing around on freaking Hitman, dude. It's such a fun game, you know. Do 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 do. So the kid goes viral because he's looking for friends, but then a shit ton of people just donate like fucking 30,000 or so dollars to him for that. Fuck, dude. You can make money out of anything, or out of doing anything, to be honest. Maybe we should just get a bunch of kids to start crying and ask for friends, and then, you know, get people to donate money to them because they're lonely. I mean, why not? It's a way to make money. I gotta lower this down just a teensy bit. It is kind of loud. 54. Meow. How are you, Snowball? Perfect. Might also do some Sea of Thieves as well. We'll see what we can do. That's one thing I forgot to tell my friend about, was my adventures on Sea of Thieves, my first adventure. Hi, Snowball. Baby, I know you want attention. What is it? What is it, Snowball? I know you want attention, but what is it? Snowball, no. No. Come on. Down. Down.
Alright, she good.
Alrighty. Let's go.
Oh. Yeah.
Well, I don't even have enough to take another exam. Jeez. Yeah, I need to make more money. I think I was doing part-time hero jobs. Oh, I can report that. Cool. Oh, in the same spot too. Sakai Red Light and West United Station. South United Station. Over here. Sakai Road is over here. Or Isekai. And then Red Light District is... No, no question. Eventually, we'll meet up with who we need to, and we will fight it. Oh. Damn it. Not a punch. Wait, no, it's not the punch. You alright there, Adachi-san? Can't be huffing and puffing every time, bro.
Yo, that's a pretty old school looking barber shop. Maybe they can give me a punch perm.
You really want a punch perm?
Yeah, punch perms are kind of my thing. This crazy shit up top was actually supposed to be a punch perm. But, well, look how that turned out.
What? I thought you were just making a fashion statement.
You call this fashionable?
Yeah, I think it looks great.
Oh, for real? Well, maybe I'll keep it around a little longer.
I thought punch perms were your thing.
I bet you good.
Ah, nice. It might be worth a bit. Oh no, not the ones I was looking for.
Right.
I got this.
Okay.
Cool.
You're gonna be in a world.
Weak.
I'm not backing down.
Wanna fight? I'm up.
Bitch.
Here we go.
Yeah.
Let's go, Namba. Another gold plate, hell yeah.
Right. You're gonna be in a world of hurt.
Can't even find a snippy dude, or the dude with the scissors or whatever. Those are not the ones that I was. See, look. West United Station. I can't find them. Maybe they're back here. Are these the guys?
Here we go.
I got this. Weak. Don't get cocky.
You're gonna get
Yeah.
stuck.
Have fun with this.
Good shit, number.
Is it closed today? No, Mia-san! It's me, Eri Kamataki!
Can I help you? Are you here for an interview or something?
What? Oh, no. I'm not here for an interview. And you are?
Oh, I'm Kasuga. I guess you could say I used to work here.
Really? You worked here? Oh, well, anyway. Is Nonomiya-san in right now? I'm supposed to meet with him today.
You see, well, it's a little complicated. You know...
No, what?
Well, Nonomiya-san, he died.
What? He's... I don't... He can't be... that's not...
Hey! Oh shit! I think we're losing her!
Hey! You alright?
Are you feeling better? I'm so sorry. That was so embarrassing. I've been trying to get a hold of Nonomiya-san by phone for the longest time, but I never would have guessed he'd passed away.
Yeah, sorry to have freaked you out. By the way, what's your name?
I'm Eri. I'm president of Ichiban Confections.
Well, damn, Mary-chan. You're a president at your age? That's incredible.
Ichiban Confections? Nice! My name's Ichiban too, actually. Ichiban Kasuga. Great minds think alike.
What a coincidence. I'm sure I don't need to tell you this, but it also means the best, which is why my grandfather chose it. He wanted his senbei to be the best in Yokohama.
Ah, senbei. Man, I love a good rice cracker. Anyway, how do you know Nonomiya-san?
Well, Nonomiya-san was supposed to step in and take over the company. I came by today to discuss things with him.
What? Nonomiya-san? President of a legitimate business?
I mean, he was a savvy businessman, regardless of what he was selling.
Oh, right. So, Ichiban Confections only sells snacks, right? Nothing, else?
Correct. My grandfather started it back in the day, selling his prized senbei. But after he passed away, my father took over and expanded the business to other confectionaries and restaurants. We actually got to be kind of big, and we even gained a bit of a reputation in Ijincho. Until... Until 3 years ago, when my father succumbed to an illness. My mother passed away when I was a little girl, so we didn't really have anyone we could turn to keep the business afloat. I was still a student back then, but I quit school to come back home. I wasn't about to let the dream my father and grandfather worked so hard to make a reality go to waste. I worked day in, day out to learn the business, but I guess it still wasn't enough. I'm a complete amateur, so managing everything was really difficult. And to make things worse, I got tricked into what I thought would be a good deal for us. Now most of our stores and businesses belong to a bunch of crooks.
That's messed up.
The only thing left is the senbei shop. My father and grandfather would be so ashamed of me. And with the loan I was still paying, staying in charge of the business would have only made things worse. Although I hated the thought, I'd considered closing Ichiban Confections for good. But that's when Nonomiya-san showed up and offered a helping hand. He used to be a regular of the senbei shop. And not only that, but he treated me like a daughter ever since I was a baby. When he heard about how the business was in trouble, he immediately stepped in to help. He paid off my loan in full, and even offered to help run the business, so that my grandpa's senbei could live on.
Oh, crazy. There's Nonomiya being a cool guy on the down low again. He deserved more respect than he got.
Yeah. I thought maybe this was gonna be another one of those exploiter and, you know, force her to work in his soapland situations.
I I never saw him interact with his other businesses, but he was always very kind to me.
Well, I can see the guy being irregular, but stepping in to become president? Maybe he just wanted some extra cash.
It's possible, but Nonomiya had dreams of his own, you know.
He did?
Yeah, he actually did want to go legitimate. That was his dream for a long time. I had to listen to him talk about it every time he had a few too many. He said he wanted to start up his own business. Create a sort of safety net for Ijincho.
What?
One way or another, Ijincho has become a place for people who have nowhere else to go. So if the floor falls out from beneath a city like this, what would they have left? So, he always talked about how he wanted to create a safety net, one big enough to catch these people from falling away. Apparently, he had the same intentions for Orohime Land as well.
Well, maybe he wasn't so bad after all.
Yes, well, he also pushed his employees too hard, and he had his fingers in a lot of shady stuff, so I could never tell if he was being honest or not.
Looking back, though, his place was the only one that took us in when we had nowhere else to go. Nonomiya-san was telling the truth, if you ask me.
I think so too. I always believed in him. After all, he volunteered to take on his struggling senbei shop. I mean, there's plenty of other ways to make money in this town. Anyway, I should get going. I'm so sorry to trouble all of you.
Wait, what about your business?
I think Nonomiya-san dying is maybe the final nail.
What?
There's only so much someone like me can do in this position. If I can't find someone more competent to run things, I'll have no choice but to close up shop. Besides, this business will fizzle out sooner or later if I'm left in charge. I should take the hint. I had no place here anyway.
Hey now, is that what you really want? This place is important to you, isn't it? You'd really call it quits after everything your dad and Gramps did for it?
Well, that's not what I want at all. I loved my dad and my grandpa, and I know they poured their hearts into the shop. So it's heartbreaking to close the doors. It really is. But Nonomiya-san's gone, and most of my employees left. They knew we were in the red. I don't have anyone else I can count on. No strategy. I'm completely alone. I suppose I'm just reaping what I've sown. It was my own fault for trusting those con artists. What was I thinking? I'm so mad at myself.
Mary-chan.
All right, I got you.
Huh? Oh no.
You don't have to worry about a thing. Just leave all this company stuff to me and the gang.
Really?
But Are you sure?
Yeah, you can count on it. Meeting here like this is too much of a coincidence. And the shop's even called Ichiban Confections. That's gotta be fate, right guys?
What are you talking about? You don't know the first thing about running a business.
Come on, we can't just leave it like this, can we? You just leave her hanging? Plus, what about Nonomiya-san's dream to become the city's safety net? This can be our way to carry on his torch.
Don't get me wrong, I'm all for it too, but this is actual management we're talking about.
I know, but we owe Nonomiya-san our lives, right? He was the guy who took us in when no one else would. I want to help. He gave up everything to save us. And nobody's gonna pick his dreams up off the floor unless we do. Let's just think of this as paying him back.
Ichan.
Paying him back, huh? Figures you'd say that. Well, we all know there's no change in his mind now. So give it all you got, Ichiban. We'll be rooting for you.
Thanks. Wait, you're gonna help too, aren't you?
Good luck, Ichiban. If anyone can pick up a failing business and use it to save the city, it's you.
I believe in you, Ichan.
Yeah, but what about you guys?
Kasuga-san, you... Are you really sure about this?
Huh? Well, yeah. I don't go back on my word. I'll be your president, prime minister, whatever you need.
Thank you. I mean that from the bottom of my heart, Kasuga-san.
Don't mention it. Looking forward to doing this, Sari-chan.
Likewise. Okay then. If it's all right with you, why don't I show you around the company?
Sure. You got this, Mr. President.
Hail to the chief.
President Kasuga!
Come on, guys.
Well, this is it. This is the first floor, which is our little senbei shop.
Oh, have you always been here?
The shop has, but the company itself was headquartered in a much bigger building with a lot more employees before it was taken over. But in the end, the business took a turn for the worse, and we ended up back here. The office is on the second floor. Please, follow me.
Right behind you. Oh, so this is the office.
You'll have to excuse the mess we've got going right now.
Hey, Eri-chan, welcome back. Is this the guy you were texting me about?
Yes. Kasuga-san will be helping with the company in the place of Nonomiya-san. Kasuga-san, this is my grandmother. She's the only family I have left. She helps out with the shop downstairs on days when she feels well enough.
I'm Tome Kamataki. Nice to meet you.
Tome-san, huh? I'm Ichiban Kasuga. Nice to meet you too.
Older gentleman. Unique hairdo. Thick build, toned muscles. Quite a boyfriend you've got yourself, Eri-chan.
Grandma? He's not my boyfriend. Were you even listening?
Oh.
Honestly, sorry about that, Kasuga-san.
It's cool. Huh? Whoa! Why is there a chicken here?
That's Omelette, our company pet. Well, I guess she's more like the company mascot. She's a good girl, though. You won't have to worry about anything. In fact, the company uses her eggs.
Oh, right on. Nice to meet you, Omelette.
Okay. Perhaps this would be a good time to go over the basics of management. This is gonna be quite a tutorial, so just let me know when you have the time.
Sure thing.